Hey, what is up guys? This is Nishi from MST.TV here, back with another Market Watch episode. So the World Championships are over now. Big congratulations to Julian for winning the whole thing. It's really awesome to see someone from North America winning for the third year in a row. Now in general, however, Worlds doesn't really have too much of an effect here on the market in the TCG. Since the ban list is a combination of the TCG and OCG, I feel like the results don't necessarily indicate what's going to be good here in the TCG moving forward. However, we have two big things to look forward to. The first is obviously the upcoming ban list. We don't know exactly when it's going to come out, but we do know that it's after Worlds, so sometime within the next couple of months. Maybe it won't be until after YCS Anaheim, or maybe it's going to be this week, who knows. The other thing is the 2025 Megatins that are going to be coming out this upcoming week. They look like they're going to be a ton of fun to crack open. So in preparation for those things, we're talking about a few of the notable changes we've seen on the market over the last week or so. Let's get started. Alright, kicking things off, we're taking a look at a big price decrease, and it's going to be infinite impermanence. So one of the things that has everyone freaking out recently is how collecting modern high-end Yu-Gi-Oh seems to basically be dead. A lot of players invested into QCR Infinite Impermanence thinking that it would retain value as the highest rarity alongside the OTS Altis. However, we're getting now Starlight Infinite Impermanence in the 2025 tins, and they do look really similar to the QCRs, and that's causing the price of the QCRs to tank. Now obviously Imperm has been one of the most important cards in the game for the last few years, being a very useful hand trap when you're going second, or being something that you can set as an interruption when going first. Now at the moment, QCR Imperm is at its lowest price point it's been in quite a while. Around a year ago we saw this card at about $70, but it continued to climb steadily in price up to around $100, $110 as people decided to hold on to them because they were the highest rarity version of the card. Now, however, the card has already fallen to about $60 each, and the tins aren't even officially released yet. Obviously, it's pretty frustrating to buy a card when you're expecting it to hold value, but then you see a good chunk of that value eviscerated not even a year later. I think that holding on to a lot of these high-end cards can definitely be risky. However, there is also a chance that QCRs could hold more value in the long run, since the QCR stamp is something that players are going to look for, and there are still very notable differences between the Starlight and QCR printings. So maybe players will look back in 5 years and they're only going to want QCRs rather than Starlights. I don't know, this one's kind of completely up to you guys. If you guys want, you could choose to buy them now while they are down, right? And you can hope that they're going to go up in the future because it's like you're buying the dip. Alternatively, you could choose to offload them before they happen to go down any further and maybe just buy them back after the price has dipped even further. The Starlight coming out is a lot like how the QCRs brought down the prices of ultimate rares in the past as players debated which one was the higher rarity. So if you guys are looking at QCR versus Starlight Infinite Impermanence, this one's going to depend entirely on your own personal risk tolerance and preferences. Next up, let's take a look at Crowley, the Gifted Magistus. So this is a pretty interesting card to see trending on the market. Basically, this card is a Poplar since you can special summon it when you search for it. So the Magistus engine is actually pretty popular over in the OCG. Basically, they have this card called Spoon, which you can discard to search for a Magistus monster. So you can search for Crowley and then summon it and use it as a material for an extra deck summon. And they all have other solid search targets as well. Now over there, this whole engine is used alongside the Draco Tail cards, and while it's not the best deck by any means, it's a really solid contender. Here in the TCG, however, we are missing Spoon, which is the key 3-of that enables the engine, so the cards are not currently seeing any play at all here. However, players are hoping that Spoon will be printed in a TCG product soon, and so we're seeing Crowley slowly get bought up off the market as players prepare. Of course, Crowley is fairly new, coming out in Battles of Legend Monster Mayhem, but it was a short printed secret rare in the set and didn't come in any higher rarities. That said, because Crowley has zero meta relevance right now, they were moving for only $1 or $2, which was extremely cheap, despite being one of the short printed secret rares in the set. Now, however, despite receiving no indication that Spoon is coming to the TCG anytime soon, Crowley has shot up in value, quadrupling in price, and now sitting at $9 per copy on TCG Player. This one was really easy to see coming if you did pay attention to OCG trends, so hopefully you didn't just dump these with the rest of the bulk from the set. We want to keep in mind that because Monster Mayhem was not a great set in terms of value, the prices of the cards in the set are going to be very elastic. So any sort of reason for the card to be good or seeing play, that's going to cause a pretty significant bump up in price. With this one, expect it to cool off a little bit in the next couple of weeks, but once Spoon does come out eventually, hopefully in something like Doom of Dimensions, which isn't too far off, I could definitely see this card shooting up in price once again. I do want to take a second to remind all of you to check out our website, MSTmerch.com. Now, over at MSTmerch.com, we have everything that you will need to optimize your Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament experience. We have the basics with white, black, pink, and our new purple matted sleeves, which are my personal favorites, as well as smooth and matted sleeves to double sleeve your valuable cards and sleeves with for tournament play. But we also have some other items that you can really use to customize your collection. We have amazing foil sleeves, including some with the MST.TV logo, and dividers and subdividers so that you can keep your collection perfectly organized and easily accessible. Regardless of if you're a competitive or casual player, I'm certain that you'll find something that you will enjoy over at MSTmerch.com. On to the next one, let's take a look at Platinum Gadget. So this is a pretty simple Link 2 monster. It requires 2 machines to make, and technically it does have an effect that relates to gadget cards, but that's not what we are concerned with here. Rather, its first effect simply lets you special summon a level 4 or lower machine monster from your hand to a zone that this card points to. Now this card is currently something that's seeing play in the OCG as a tech option in certain K9 decks. So basically, K9 is getting a new monster in the next core set called Noroi, who is basically an Ice Ryzeal special summoning a K9 from your deck when it's normal summoned specifically. However, we are seeing some K9 decks trying out some pretty cheeky things with it. There's a K9 build that uses the K9s to make a River Stormer and search for Scrap Recycler. Note that Noroi is actually a machine, so you can go Noroi and River Stormer search, and then use the 2 to make Platinum Gadget. You then special summon the Scrap Recycler with the effect of Platinum Gadget, and you can send something to the graveyard. In one build, Scrap Recycler was used to dump Spell Canceller, which was then revived from the graveyard with Lantern. In another build, in something like Crystron, this was just another way that you can access your full Crystron combo. Anyways, Platinum Gadget actually only has 1 ultra rare printing in the TCG from back in Dual Overload, which came out all the way back in 2020. Now this card has historically always been worth a few dollars, around like $3 to $5. However, over the last few months, the card has gone up to about $8 and now sits at $12 lowest on TCG Player. With this one, I feel like it's bound to be reprinted soon, especially with Noroi coming out in Doom of Dimensions. I expect Platinum Gadget to be in the upcoming OTS tournament pack, either as a common or super rare. That said, I would definitely keep one if you want to play with those K9 cards, but consider offloading the rest of them while Platinum Gadget is currently at an all-time high. Up next is a pretty funny one. We have Capshell. So this is a really random level 2 Fiend monster. Basically, if you tribute it, use it for a Synchro Fusion or Link Summon, or you detach it from an Xyz monster, you get to draw a card. So I think that this card was at one point used in something like Sprite, since it happened to also be a level 2, but really this card has never been all that great. For some reason though, it was a secret rare in Rising Rampage. Even back then, it was just one of those secret rares you hoped you didn't pull because it could have been an Appaloosa. Now, however, it seems that some players are looking at it as a potential tech in the Draco Tail deck. So basically, it's just something that you want to fuse away to make Arthalion with, since you can use the body and add something back from your graveyard to your hand, as well as draw a card off of Capshell's effect. Basically, this card is like a replacement for Shaddoll Beast. Beast grants you access to something like El Shaddoll Winda, but the benefit of Capshell is that it can be normal summoned and then converted into other things, while Beast is a level 5 and might just be stuck in your hand. I don't know, for me personally, I think I would rather play the Shaddoll cards, but Capshell is an interesting choice to consider. Price-wise, Capshell did get a rare reprint in one of the tins, so that version is still basically bulk. However, the secret rare printing is the highest rarity printing of the card, and has technically gone up. These were only $1 or so. Technically, right now, the cheapest ones on TCG Player are like $7 to $8 each, and there's a few sold listings around that range as well. Ultimately though, I don't think that this is something that's going to stick at all. If you do happen to have these in secret rare just lying around, definitely consider offloading them while there is a bit of hype surrounding them. Okay, so here's a weird one. This is Tuningware. Now this is sort of an odd card. It's a level 1 machine that can be treated as a level 2 if you're going to use it as synchro material, and then when you synchro with it, you get to draw a card as well. So when it comes to the Synchron deck, I'm not especially familiar with the old or new cards. I know that they use a lot of small monsters to climb into the big ones, so it makes sense that Tuningware would be good since its level can be flexible and you can draw a card for free. I'm not completely sure of how Tuningware fits into the deck, if there's an easy way to bring it out or anything like that. Synchrons are getting a new structure deck in the OCG, and I think most of the cards are revealed except for one. A bunch of new support though, and it looks pretty solid. We should be getting a structure deck here in the TCG eventually, though obviously that hasn't been confirmed yet. However, the reason that Tuningware is trending, I believe, is that Tuningware actually isn't included in the OCG version of the structure deck, so it's something that players are going to have to pick up separately. Now keep in mind that the OCG and TCG versions of the structure deck aren't always exactly the same, so there could be a difference and we could get Tuningware when the structure deck comes out here in the TCG, but that's not a confirmed thing. Of course, there is the draw to have high rarity versions of the card rather than common reprints. This card has a bunch of odd printings. It was an ultra rare in a duelist pack, it has duelist league rare printings, and then it was a secret rare in the legendary collection 5Ds box. Basically any of these holo printings or the duelist league rares is going to cost you anywhere from $5 to $10 a piece. However, aside from that, the card got a common printing. Even those have moved up to around $1 or $2, even though it was in a structure deck here already in the TCG. If I'm wrong and this is trending for another reason, then please do let me know down in the comment section, but for this one, that's all I've been able to reason out. Hopefully you're able to move these for some good value if you're not too interested in playing Synchrons in the future. Alright, finally the last card I'm going to talk about for today is Salamangreat Almirage. So Almirage is such a random card that feels like it doesn't do anything, but it's actually quite important. It can be only made with a normal summoned monster with 1000 or less attack points, and it has a very situational effect where you contribute it to protect your monster from being destroyed by card effects for the turn. However, this is an important card in two different strategies because it allows you to convert hand traps into a necessary piece to start off your combo. So in Malice, depending on what you open with, right? Players will need to use this card because they need a second Cybers to go into in order to make Splash Mage, and then in Yummy, this lets you turn Fualos or an Ash into a Link 1, which then allows you to use the field spell Mignon to bring back a Yummy monster. So this feels really situational, but I feel like they make Almirage a really important card to have access to in the respective extra decks, since if the situation comes up and you don't have access to it, it does feel pretty bad. Anyways, Almirage has been reprinted several times. I think the super easily accessible printing is actually the rare from Soul Burning Volcano. That was a duelist pack that not too many people opened, but you can still find copies floating around every now and then, and they're still really cheap on TCG Player. However, the card's original printing is from back in Battles of Legend Heroes Revenge as a secret rare. The card hasn't come in a higher rarity printing, so those originals are currently going for about $15 each, which is pretty crazy value. That's up from the $7 to $8 that the card was sitting at before, since this card has basically become a staple in the Yummy extra deck. Personally, I think Almirage is due for some sort of luxury rarity printing, maybe as a Starlight rare. If you guys do happen to have the secrets right now, I definitely consider moving them and then maybe just playing the ultras in the meantime, since a new luxury rarity version of the card will definitely cause the price of the secret rares to tank. Alright guys, that is all I have for today's episode. Definitely super cool to see Worlds. The only problem I had is that things were happening overnight because they're going on Paris time. So I woke up early to catch the finals, but I didn't actually get to watch a lot of the rest of the games live. I stayed up a little bit late and saw some of it, and I saw the finals. So I guess I watched like kind of more of the important things. Anyways guys, if you did enjoy today's Market Watch, please make sure you let me know by hitting that thumbs up button. Make sure you leave a comment in the comment section down below. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, and until next time guys, don't forget to hold on to your MST.TV.